Hiya! Oh, anyway, aka GK Fralin, call me Glenda. How many of you have gone to the, clicked on the live NASA feed from space today? It's awesome. And they are pointing toward Earth, or they have several times, so that we can see with their camera, because they're out there. They're outside of the or out over there. I think they're probably at the space station, maybe not, but they're on the outside and doing some repairs or just spacewalking. I think they're doing repairs, but it's so awesome. When you see a picture of the Earth, you always see those nice little continents drawn and all that. And a lot of times in the movies, that's what you see, is the world with all of that, But in actuality, it's showing, the cloud covers and all of that. It's just awesome. It looks like, the shot that we got, or that I saw, a lot of it was clouds, a cloud cover. Every once in a while, a little blue shone through, so maybe they were getting the East Coast. Oh, it looked like bigger than the East Coast, though. I suppose some of that is just part of the atmosphere. Anyway, we have a new person that is sharing on our vlog, and Nern, what is your last name now? Guan. Nern Guan. And, okay, he is from Ohio, and he says that his nationality is Chinese. So he has written a story. It probably won't get up right away, but because I have other things here. So today, for one thing, I looked up, and I'm going to put it in the description box where I put all my links. I'm going to put it there. It's a site. Okay, it's a site I went to, and I'm leaving the link. What it is, the title of the article is "The Impact of Chronic Illness on the Family," and it's by Erica Lawrence, PhD. Now that might sound a little scary, like it's going to be one of those really, hard to understand articles, but it's really not. I found it very, I got so many things open here. I found it very easy to understand. So I'm hoping you do too. Basically what it does is it talks about how the roles among the family change when someone is chronically ill, and that they don't often, you'll talk about the illness and how, and you'll talk about, different things, but it's seldom that the entire family discusses how it's changing their feelings, their roles. And so it kind of gets into that. And there are things that go along with these kinds of things, feelings and stuff, The person, one thing she mentions is that the person who is ill or chronically ill feels guilty. I've been through that. And you do, you go through a period of feeling guilty because you're making other people take care of you. But it's a reality and something that we, and there, sometimes family members will get a little tense and upset about, all the needs that you have. And, as long as it doesn't go extreme, that's really okay. We don't want to get into elder abuse, that kind of thing. That's not okay. But understanding that you can be angry about it doesn't mean that you don't like the person or hate the person. It just means that it's getting to you and you're feeling a little angry about it. So, kind of like when you bring a kid home from the hospital and your whole life changes. And there's a little period you go through where you're like, gosh, if I could just let someone else have this kid for a little while. Stuff like that, it's not anything to feel guilty about. It's normal. You get through it. So, anyway, it's great to discuss things. And now, for a little bit of lighter fun. Now I'm going to read Carla's story. Okay, she's used the same 4 elements, and it's a really nice fairy tale. I hope I can do it justice this time. The royal princess Saphire of the reigning Aardvark family, Schnoz, had been named Sapphire due to the unusual color of her eyes. Yes, her eyes were a beautiful shade of dark sapphire. The princess was unusual in other ways, much to the chagrin of her adoring parents. The most disturbing was that Sapphire hated the taste of ants. Unheard of, unthinkable. Oh, she tolerated termites barely, and honeybees, especially if they were covered with honey, but ants never. Since aardvarks are normally solitary creatures who search for food at night, the family was able to keep her strangeness somewhat hidden, aside that it from the eye color, which had caused quite a stir throughout the kingdom. However, there were things about Sapphire that not even her family knew. Sapphire's best friend was a wild serval cat. Unheard of, unthinkable. Stranger still, Sapphire had developed an insatiable desire for Dr. Pepper. Even her serval friend, Leapers, was appalled. Nevertheless, Leapers kept his considerably keen eye open for his friend's desire as they hunted together each night, even though it meant venturing dangerously close to human habitats. Not that he minded overly much, as it often afforded him the opportunity to also grab one of his favorite treats, a plump domestic hen. On this particular night, they struck the jackpot. They stumbled upon the remains of an outdoor wedding party in the yard of a farmer, while Leapers quietly slipped through the farmyard in search of one plump hen. Sapphire delicately rummaged through the bottles lying abandoned for her beloved Dr. Pepper. Success! There, lying on its side in the grass, was her treasure, top off and just waiting for her long tongue to sample. And that's what she did. Unfortunately, her pleasure was short-lived. Tragedy struck. A thoroughly satisfied Leapers came upon a very distressed Sapphire, fighting desperately to remove her tongue from the bottle of Dr. Pepper. It seems the heat of the day had turned the sugary drink into a gooey, gelatinous trap for poor Sapphire. She was panicking and mumbling something he couldn't quite make sense of. In a last-ditch effort, Sapphire placed her incredibly strong front claws around the bottle and pulled with all her might. Plop! Out came a very swollen aardvark tongue. Sapphire, at full voice, yelled, "Scazafragets!" over and over. Leapers, thinking he wasn't hearing her right, queried, "What are you trying to say, my friend?" Shaking her head and nearly in tears, she replied, "I am not trying to say anything. I'm saying scazafragets." About that time, the lights of the farmer's house lit. Obviously alerted by the commotion, Leapers hushed Sapphire and shooed her back toward the bush. When they were well away, Leapers sat down and began cleaning the chicken feathers from his fur. Sapphire, nursing her tongue, sat beside him, still mumbling that odd word. Having had enough, Leapers insisted quite strongly that Sapphire translate the meaning of scazafragets. At first Sapphire just pouted. She was embarrassed. After all, she was a royal princess. But Leapers was her friend, and she gave in. Scazafragets is a demon from ancient Aardvark mythology. It's really not very proper to call out his name. But Leapers, I just was so angry and had such horrid thoughts. It just came out. Please don't ever tell anyone, or the real scazafragets might come back and take me. Forgive me for swearing in front of you. Leapers thought for a moment and then purred with pleasure. You could never offend me, Sapphire. It'll be just between us. I promise. But would you mind if I borrowed it? The guys will be so impressed that I know how to swear in ancient Aardvark. Sapphire giggled. Boys, they are all alike. They all lived happily ever after, though Sapphire rather lost her taste for Dr. Pepper. The end. Thank goodness I got it.